Throughout history, the relationship between animals and witchcraft has often been steeped in superstition, folklore, and cultural beliefs. Many people have wondered which animal is considered the most dangerous in relation to witches. Some might point to the black cat, a creature often associated with witches in popular culture. This association dates back to the Middle Ages, when black cats were believed to be the familiars of witches, helping them cast spells and perform dark magic. The fear surrounding these animals led to their persecution, with many being killed during witch hunts, as they were thought to bring bad luck or serve as a connection to the supernatural. Others might consider the owl, which has been linked to wisdom, mystery, and the night. In various cultures, owls were seen as omens, often warning of death or misfortune, furthering their reputation as dangerous companions for witches. Additionally, the toad is another animal frequently linked to witchcraft, particularly in the context of potion making. The idea of witches using toads in their spells, sometimes believed to extract toxins or magical properties from their skin, has contributed to the toad's reputation as a sinister creature in folklore. Certain species of snakes, especially those that are venomous, have also been associated with witches, symbolizing danger and deceit. Snakes, with their ability to blend into their surroundings and their often misunderstood nature, have long been a symbol of the unknown, making them a fitting companion for those who delve into the mysterious arts. Then there's the wolf, which has often been depicted as a creature of the night, embodying the wild and untamed aspects of nature. In many folk tales, wolves are seen as protectors of the forest, but they are also feared for their predatory nature. This duality has led to their association with witches, who were sometimes thought to transform into wolves or command them. Furthermore, bats, often seen flitting through the night sky, have gained an eerie reputation as creatures linked to the supernatural, particularly in relation to vampires and witchcraft. Their nocturnal habits and ability to navigate darkness make them a fitting symbol of mystery and danger. In some cultures, even farm animals like goats have been linked to witches, particularly the male goat, known as a billy goat, which has been viewed as a symbol of the devil. The association with goats and their often rebellious nature has made them subjects of fear and reverence, leading to many believing that witches could summon or... Throughout history, various animals have been intertwined with the narratives of witchcraft and danger, often reflecting the cultural and societal fears of the times. For instance, in medieval Europe, the association of cats, particularly black cats, with witches became prevalent. This connection arose partly from the belief that witches were said to have the ability to transform into cats, allowing them to move stealthily and perform their dark deeds under the cover of night. The fear of cats grew so intense that during the witch hunts, many innocent cats were persecuted, leading to a significant decline in their population, which ironically contributed to an increase in the rat population and the spread of diseases like the bubonic plague. In addition, owls have long been viewed as harbingers of doom or omens of death in various cultures. Their nocturnal habits, eerie calls, and silent flight contributed to their mystique, leading many to believe they were connected to witchcraft. For example, Native American folklore often depicted owls as messengers from the spirit world, sometimes warning of danger. Similarly, in European traditions, the sighting of an owl was often associated with impending misfortune or the presence of witches, further cementing their place in the lore surrounding danger and the supernatural. Moreover, the infamous association of snakes with evil and witchcraft has roots in ancient mythology. In many cultures, snakes were seen as symbols of temptation and betrayal, a theme notably highlighted in the biblical story of Adam and Eve. This portrayal persisted through the ages, as snakes were often depicted as companions to witches, believed to possess magical powers. The venomous nature of certain snake species, along with their ability to hide and strike unexpectedly, added to their reputation as dangerous creatures linked to witchcraft. In some African traditions, certain animals, such as the hyena, are viewed with suspicion and fear. Hyenas are often associated with witchcraft and folklore, particularly in East Africa, where they are thought to be shapeshifters or the familiars of witches. This belief stems from the hyena's scavenging behavior and its haunting calls, which many find unsettling, thus reinforcing the idea that they are connected to dark magic and danger. The historical context of these associations is further deepened by the societal norms and fears prevalent at the time. For instance, during the European witch hunts from the 15th to the 18th centuries, the fear of witches and their supposed animal familiars led to widespread hysteria, many were accused of witch. Folklore has played a significant role in shaping how people perceive animals, particularly in the context of witches and their companions, often referred to as familiars. Throughout history, many cultures have told stories about witches who had special relationships with animals, believing that these creatures were not just pets, but also magical beings that assisted in their practices. In medieval Europe, for example, it was common to associate certain animals, like cats, owls, and toads, with witchcraft. Cats, especially black ones, were often seen as the most typical familiars, believed to offer protection and guidance to witches. This association likely stems from the cat's mysterious nature and its nocturnal habits, which made it an enigmatic figure in the eyes of the superstitious. Folklore often depicted witches as having a close bond with their familiars, which were thought to help in casting spells or performing rituals. These stories created an image of witches as figures who were in tune with nature, using animal instincts and powers to enhance their own abilities. In some cultures, it was believed that familiars could be spirits in animal form, serving as guides or messengers for witches. For instance, in some Native American traditions, animals are revered as spirit guides, and this belief system intertwines with the idea that animals can have a deeper spiritual significance. Folklore from different regions also tells of animals that could transform or shapeshift, which adds to their mystical allure. In the stories, these animals often acted as protectors, helping witches navigate the dangers of the world, while also reflecting the fears and prejudices of society towards those who practiced witchcraft. In the 16th and 17th centuries, during the height of witch hunts in Europe, these perceptions were intensified. Accusations of witchcraft often included claims of having a familiar, and this was used as evidence against many accused. The idea of animals as companions or magical helpers became a tool of fear, fueling the hysteria that led to countless trials and executions. This dark period in history shaped a collective mindset, associating witches with malevolence and reinforcing the bond between witches and their animal companions as something unnatural or sinister. As folklore evolved, so did the interpretations of these relationships. In some tales, familiars were seen as benevolent creatures, assisting in healing or guiding lost souls, while in others they were viewed as embodiments of evil or mischief, leading their witches astray. This duel. Throughout history, cats have held a unique and often mysterious place in various cultures, especially in relation to witchcraft and the supernatural. In ancient Egypt, for instance, cats were revered as sacred animals, seen as protectors against evil spirits, and often associated with the goddess Bastet, who symbolized home, fertility, and domesticity. Egyptians believed that these creatures had special powers, and harming a cat could lead to severe punishment, even death. This deep respect contrasts sharply with how cats were later viewed in medieval Europe, where they became linked to witchcraft and superstition. During the witch hunts of the 15th to 18th centuries, many cats, especially black ones, were believed to be familiars of witches, serving as their companions and conduits for dark magic. This association sparked fear and led to countless cats being killed, as people thought that by eliminating these animals they would rid their communities of witchcraft. In some cultures, particularly in parts of Europe, black cats were thought to bring bad luck, while in others they were seen as omens of good fortune. For example, in Scottish folklore, a strange black cat arriving at your home could indicate impending prosperity, while in other regions, the same cat might be seen as a sign of a witch's presence. The varying perceptions of cats extended beyond color. In some cultures, long-haired breeds were regarded with suspicion, as their luxurious fur was thought to attract spirits, leading to beliefs that these cats were conduits of supernatural forces. Moving to Asia, cats have been viewed differently, especially in Japan, where the famous maneki neko, or beckoning cat, is a symbol of good luck and prosperity. This cultural icon reflects a more positive view of cats, contrasting the darker associations found in Western traditions. However, even in Japan, there are tales of cats with supernatural abilities, such as the bakaneko, which is said to possess the power to transform into a human or cause mischief. The interpretations of cats in witchcraft also vary in Africa, where some tribes view them as protectors against evil spirits, while others may associate them with witchcraft practices, depending on local beliefs and customs. For instance, in some West African cultures, cats are believed to possess supernatural powers and are sometimes kept as pets to ward off malevolent forces, while in other areas, they may be feared as potential harbingers of witchcraft. In summary, cats have been seen through many. In witchcraft narratives, certain animals are often depicted as threatening or sinister, and this portrayal can be traced back to various characteristics that these creatures possess, which evoke fear, mystery, or unease in people. For instance, many of these animals are seen as symbols of darkness or the unknown, largely due to their nocturnal habits or elusive nature. Creatures like owls, bats, and black cats have been historically associated with witchcraft and magic, primarily because they are active at night when many believe supernatural activities take place. Their ability to navigate in darkness, coupled with their unusual calls or behaviors, adds to their eerie reputation. Moreover, some animals, such as snakes and wolves, have traits that can be perceived as aggressive or predatory, which further enhances their threatening image. Snakes, with their ability to strike suddenly, represent hidden dangers, while wolves, often depicted as cunning and fierce, embody the fear of the wild and untamed nature. The sharp teeth and claws of these animals contribute to their fearsome appearance, making them symbols of danger in folklore. Additionally, their behaviors, like the way snakes can shed their skin or how wolves hunt in packs, can be interpreted as mysterious, feeding into the narrative of them being linked to witchcraft. The color of an animal can also play a significant role in how it is perceived in witchcraft tales. For example, black animals, particularly black cats, are often associated with bad luck or malevolence, a stereotype that has persisted through the ages. This association may stem from historical beliefs and superstitions, where the color black has been linked to evil or the supernatural, thus making any animal of that hue seem more threatening. Furthermore, animals that exhibit unusual physical traits, such as extra limbs, odd markings, or other deformities, can be seen as omens or signs of witchcraft, as they defy the norms of nature and evoke a sense of the uncanny. Witches themselves are often depicted in connection with animals that serve as familiars or spiritual companions, which can also contribute to the threatening aura surrounding these creatures. Familiars are believed to be supernatural entities that assist witches, and the idea that these animals possess special powers or knowledge adds to their mysterious and fearsome qualities. This connection between witches and animals, especially those that are marginalized or misunderstood, perpetuates the narrative that certain creatures are inherently dangerous or linked to dark magic. Moreover, the way these animals are portrayed in stories, often with the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries, had a profound impact on the reputation of various animals, particularly toads and owls, which became associated with dark magic and superstition during this tumultuous period. Toads, for instance, were often seen as familiars or companions of witches believed to possess magical powers, and this association led to a widespread fear and revulsion towards these creatures. People thought that toads could be used in spells or that they could bring bad luck, which resulted in many toads being killed out of fear and misunderstanding. Their warty skin and nocturnal habits made them seem even more sinister in the eyes of superstitious individuals who painted them as symbols of evil. Owls, on the other hand, were also cast in a negative light during these times, as their eerie calls and nocturnal behavior were linked to omens and witchcraft. In many cultures, owls were viewed as harbingers of death or misfortune, further fueling the fear surrounding them. Their silent flight and haunting hoots made them mysterious, and this air of mystery was often interpreted as something malevolent. During the witch hunts, it was not uncommon for people to accuse women of witchcraft based on their association with these creatures, often claiming that they had transformed into owls or that owls were watching over them. The trials and persecutions that defined this era led to a significant cultural shift in how certain animals were perceived. Instead of being regarded as benign parts of the natural world, toads and owls were demonized, leading to a legacy of fear that persisted long after the witch hunts ended. Even today, these animals are sometimes viewed with suspicion, reflecting the deeply ingrained superstitions that arose during those times. Many people still associate owls with wisdom, but there remains an undercurrent of unease stemming from centuries of folklore that painted them as witches' companions. Similarly, toads have not entirely shed their bad reputation, often still being viewed as creepy or unlucky by some. The transformation in the perception of these animals is a reminder of how societal beliefs and fears can shape our understanding of nature. The witch hunts illustrate the dangers of superstition and how easily it can lead to the vilification of innocent creatures, disrupting the balance of human-animal relationships. As history shows, the influence of these events was far-reaching, leading to a lasting stigma that affected how people viewed these animals. In various cultures, certain animals have been historically associated with witchcraft, often believed to be witches in disguise, which reveals a fascinating interplay between folklore, superstition, and the natural world. One of the most notable animals linked to witchcraft is the black cat, especially during the Middle Ages in Europe. These sleek, mysterious creatures were thought to be companions of witches, often believed to be shape-shifted forms of witches themselves. The danger attributed to black cats was significant, as they were thought to bring bad luck, misfortune, and even death to those who crossed their paths, a belief that has lingered even into modern times, despite their charming nature. Another animal commonly associated with witchcraft is the owl, especially the barn owl, with its ghostly appearance and eerie calls. In many cultures, owls were seen as omens of death or harbingers of evil, believed to be the transformed souls of witches or even the witches themselves seeking to carry out their dark deeds under the cover of night. People often whispered that if an owl hooted near a home, it signaled impending doom for someone living there, creating an atmosphere of fear and suspicion around these fascinating birds, which, in reality, are simply skilled hunters and vital parts of the ecosystem. Similarly, the toad, particularly the common toad, has been tied to witchcraft throughout history. With their warty skin and nocturnal habits, toads were often associated with the darker aspects of nature. In some traditions, witches were said to use toad's fat in their potions, leading to the belief that toads themselves could be witches' familiars, carrying out their master's will. The danger attributed to toads was often linked to their association with poison. Their skin secretes toxins that can be harmful to predators, which fueled the idea that they could bring harm to humans as well. In addition to these animals, the raven, with its all-black plumage and intelligent eyes, has long been linked to witchcraft and the supernatural. In folklore, ravens were believed to be messengers from the spirit world, capable of carrying the souls of the dead or serving as spies for witches. People feared that seeing a raven could mean that someone was practicing dark magic nearby, leading to a deep-seated belief that these birds were to be avoided, as they were thought to bring dire messages or misfortune. In some regions, even certain breeds of dogs were thought to be witches. In modern interpretations of witchcraft often present a more nuanced and complex view of dangerous animals, differing significantly from historical views that frequently depicted these creatures as purely malevolent symbols of evil, or as familiars serving dark forces. In the past, during periods such as the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th centuries, animals like cats, especially black cats, were often seen as companions of witches, associated with curses and misfortune, creating a widespread fear that led to brutal persecutions. These historical narratives painted animals in stark, fearful terms, suggesting they possessed supernatural powers or were manifestations of a witch's malevolence, thus fostering an atmosphere of superstition and hysteria. In contrast, modern interpretations tend to embrace a more respectful and even reverential view of nature, including dangerous animals, recognizing their roles in ecosystems and their intrinsic value, rather than solely their potential to harm. Contemporary witches and practitioners of the craft often see these animals as powerful totems or symbols of strength, resilience, and transformation. For instance, rather than being viewed solely as symbols of death or destruction, predators like wolves or snakes are now frequently celebrated for their roles as essential components of their environments, embodying qualities such as loyalty, intuition, and the cycle of life. Furthermore, modern witchcraft can reflect a shift towards ecofeminism and environmentalism, acknowledging the interconnectedness of all living beings and advocating for the protection of endangered species and habitats. This perspective encourages a deeper understanding of dangerous animals, celebrating their existence while also recognizing the need for coexistence and respect. For example, rather than fearing a bear as a purely dangerous creature, many modern practitioners would appreciate its strength and the lessons it can teach about boundaries and respect for nature. Additionally, popular culture has played a significant role in reshaping the portrayal of dangerous animals within witchcraft. Movies, books, and social media often depict witches with animal companions that symbolize power and wisdom rather than fear. Characters might bond with these creatures, showcasing their intelligence and emotional depth, which contrasts sharply with historical narratives that often demonize these animals. This modern portrayal encourages a sense of empathy, allowing audiences to connect with these creatures on a deeper level, and fostering a love for wildlife that transcends old fears. Through this contemporary lens, it's evident that dangerous animals are not merely threats, but are part of a rich tapestry of life that deserves to be understood and respected. This shift in interpretation reflects a broader cultural movement towards valuing nature, promoting conservation. Snakes have long held a complex and multifaceted role in various cultures, particularly in the context of witchcraft symbolism, where they are often seen as powerful creatures embodying both wisdom and danger. In many traditions, snakes are associated with transformation and rebirth, largely due to their ability to shed their skin, which symbolizes renewal and the cycle of life. This shedding process, viewed through the lens of witchcraft, can signify the release of old habits or the shedding of one's past self, making snakes a potent symbol for those who practice magical arts. Additionally, snakes are often connected to the earth and the underworld, representing hidden knowledge and the mysteries of nature. This connection to the unseen and the unknown adds to their allure, as well as their fear. Historically, in some cultures, such as ancient Egypt, snakes were revered and associated with deities, showcasing their dual nature as both protective and dangerous. The uraeus, a symbol of sovereignty and divine authority, depicted a cobra and was worn by pharaohs as a sign of royalty and protection. Yet, despite these positive associations, snakes also evoke fear, primarily due to their venomous species, which can pose a real threat to humans. In witchcraft, this fear is often explored, as the snake's ability to strike suddenly and without warning reinforces the idea of danger lurking beneath the surface, a theme often present in magical narratives. Moreover, snakes have been linked to the archetype of the trickster, a figure that embodies chaos and unpredictability, further complicating their role in symbolism. This trickster element can be seen in various myths and stories, where snakes may deceive or lead characters into perilous situations, symbolizing the dangers of temptation and the consequences of straying from one's path. In this way, they serve as a reminder of the fine line between light and darkness, wisdom and ignorance, creation and destruction. The negative perceptions of snakes can also be traced to their portrayal in religious texts, such as the Bible, where the serpent is associated with temptation and evil, leading to the idea of snakes as symbols of danger and deceit. This duality in symbolism creates a rich tapestry of meanings, making snakes fascinating subjects in the study of witchcraft and its symbolism. Their presence in rituals and spells often signifies the need to confront one's fears or to embrace change, which can be unsettling but ultimately transformative. In modern witchcraft practices, snakes may be invoked for protection, wisdom, or as guides in the magical beliefs about animals, particularly in relation to witchcraft, showcase fascinating differences between urban and rural communities, reflecting the distinct environments and cultural practices of these areas. In rural communities where nature plays a significant role in daily life, animals often hold deep symbolic meanings intertwined with local folklore and traditions. For instance, in many rural settings, certain creatures like owls or black cats are believed to carry mystical powers, often seen as omens or as companions to witches, embodying wisdom or transformation. These beliefs are often passed down through generations, where children learn from elders about the protective or harmful spirits associated with various animals, creating a rich tapestry of magical understanding that is closely connected to the land and its natural inhabitants. In contrast, urban communities, with their fast-paced lifestyles and concrete jungles, tend to have a more detached relationship with nature. Here, magical beliefs about animals may be influenced more by popular culture, media portrayals, and globalized folklore, rather than local traditions. For example, the idea of witches riding on broomsticks accompanied by black cats might be widely recognized, but the connection to real-life experiences with these animals is often less pronounced. In cities, Animals such as pigeons or street cats might be seen as symbols of survival or urban adaptability rather than as magical creatures, leading to a different kind of interpretation that emphasizes resilience over mystery. Moreover, the accessibility of information plays a crucial role in shaping these beliefs. In rural areas, where community ties are strong and information is often shared through storytelling, magical beliefs can evolve slowly, remaining deeply embedded in the culture. Urban dwellers, however, might encounter a mix of beliefs from various cultures, leading to a more eclectic, yet sometimes superficial understanding of animal magic. This might result in a fascination with exotic animals, like dragons or phoenixes, drawn from fantasy literature or films, rather than a grounded appreciation for local wildlife. The role of animals in witchcraft practices also differs significantly between these settings. In rural areas, specific animals may be used in traditional rituals, believed to harness powers for healing, protection, or guidance. For instance, a farmer might keep a particular bird as a protector of crops based on local lore. Conversely, in urban environments, the practice of witchcraft may lean more towards symbolic representations, using animal imagery in spells or rituals, without a direct connection to the animals themselves. This shift can lead to a divergence in how communities understand and interact with the natural world, where, in literature, certain animals are frequently depicted as dangerous companions to witches, with the most notable being black cats, owls, and toads. Black cats, in particular, have long been associated with witchcraft, often symbolizing mystery and the unknown. This connection may stem from historical beliefs, where black cats were thought to be witches in disguise or the familiars of witches, helping them perform their dark magic. The fear of black cats reflects deeper societal anxieties about the unknown, superstition, and the fear of the other, as well as the impact of societal norms on perceptions of animals. Owls, with their silent flight and eerie calls, have often been linked to wisdom, but also to death and misfortune. In many cultures, owls are seen as omens, a connection that enhances their portrayal as witches' companions. Their nocturnal nature, combined with their haunting presence, evokes a sense of fear and foreboding, suggesting that the knowledge they carry, while valuable, can also lead to dark places, illuminating the societal fear of knowledge that defies conventional understanding. Toads, often depicted in folklore as the quintessential companion of witches, represent a different aspect of nature's darkness. Their slimy appearance and association with damp, shadowy environments contribute to their reputation as harbingers of ill fortune. This portrayal plays into fears about transformation and the grotesque, serving as a reminder of the hidden dangers that lurk in the natural world, as well as the fear of what lies beneath the surface, both in nature and in human society. The consistent depiction of these animals as companions to witches speaks volumes about societal fears, serving as a mirror for our anxieties regarding the unknown, the unconventional, and the forces of nature that we cannot fully control. It showcases a historical tendency to demonize certain creatures, casting them as symbols of chaos or evil, ultimately reflecting societal attempts to make sense of the unexplained, the mysterious, and the often unpredictable aspects of the natural world. Through these literary representations, we see how fear can shape our understanding of both animals and the supernatural, revealing the intricate and sometimes unsettling relationship between humanity and the natural world. In contemporary media, the portrayal of dangerous witch animals has undergone a fascinating transformation, reflecting changes in societal views and cultural narratives. In earlier films and literature, these creatures, often depicted as sinister and malevolent, were closely associated with the fear of the unknown, reinforcing stereotypes about witches and their supposed familiars, like black cats, owls, and toads. These animals were frequently shown as harbingers of doom, emphasizing their roles as companions to evil witches who used them for dark magic and nefarious purposes. This portrayal played into the broader themes of fear and superstition that surrounded witchcraft, particularly during times of historical witch hunts, where animals were often blamed as agents of witchcraft, fueling public hysteria. However, as society has evolved, so too has the representation of these witch animals in modern films and television. Nowadays, creators tend to portray these creatures with more complexity and depth, often infusing them with personality traits that allow for a more nuanced understanding of their roles. For instance, black cats are frequently depicted as quirky, lovable companions rather than ominous symbols of bad luck. This shift not only reflects a change in how we perceive these animals, but also signifies a broader acceptance of the mystical and magical in a more positive light. In many contemporary stories, these animals serve as protectors, guides, or even protagonists, challenging the traditional notions of evil. For example, in films like Kiki's Delivery Service, the cat Gigi is both a source of comic relief and a loyal friend, while in Harry Potter, the character of Hermione Granger's cat, Crookshanks, plays an important role in the storyline, embodying intelligence and independence. Additionally, animated series often feature witch animals that are not just companions, but characters with their own arcs, showcasing their bravery and intelligence, which can inspire viewers to rethink their perceptions of these creatures. Moreover, the rise of environmental awareness and animal rights has influenced how media portrays the relationship between witches and their animal companions. The connection is often reimagined as a partnership, where the animal is an equal, highlighting themes of friendship, respect, and harmony with nature. In shows like The Owl House, the magical creatures are integrated into the world's ecosystem, showcasing their importance in maintaining balance. This transformation reflects a growing trend in storytelling that values the natural world and promotes coexistence rather than fear. The change in portrayal also mirrors broader societal shifts towards inclusivity and understanding as audiences. Stories about dangerous witch animals, creatures often associated with folklore and superstition, can have significant psychological effects on society's perception of wildlife. These tales, steeped in mystery and fear, can shape the way people view not just the animals involved, but nature as a whole. When communities are exposed to narratives that depict certain animals as malevolent or harmful, a sense of fear can develop, leading to misconceptions about their behavior and ecological role. For instance, wolves, often portrayed as cunning and dangerous in various myths, might evoke fear and lead to a negative attitude towards them, despite their essential role in maintaining healthy ecosystems by controlling prey populations. This fear can result in real-world consequences, such as the unnecessary culling of these animals, driven by the belief that they pose a threat to humans or livestock, even when evidence suggests that their presence can be beneficial. Moreover, the psychological impact of these stories can extend beyond animal fear. They can also contribute to a broader mistrust of nature. When people are raised on tales of witch animals, they may grow up viewing wildlife as something to be avoided or feared, rather than understood and appreciated. This can create a disconnect between humans and the natural world, leading to a lack of empathy for wildlife and a diminished desire to engage in conservation efforts. As a result, the rich diversity of life that surrounds us can be overlooked, and the complexities of ecosystems can become lost in the simplistic narratives of danger and evil. Additionally, these stories often reflect deeper societal anxieties, projecting our fears onto animals that become symbols of what we do not understand. For example, creatures like owls, which are sometimes linked to witchcraft, can evoke a sense of unease, causing people to view them as harbingers of bad luck or misfortune. Such associations can lead to a cycle of misunderstanding, where animals that are crucial for pest control or seed dispersal are vilified, resulting in their declining populations and further imbalances in the ecosystem. The media plays a pivotal role in perpetuating these narratives, often sensationalizing encounters with wildlife that reinforce the idea that certain animals are dangerous. This coverage can amplify fear, leading to heightened anxiety about wildlife interactions and encouraging policies that prioritize fear over coexistence. It's essential to recognize that while stories about witch animals can be captivating, they often overshadow the true nature of these creatures, leading to a distorted view that fails to appreciate their ecological importance. Ultimately, while tales of dangerous witch animals can capture the imagination, they also, in various cultures and religions, the concept of dangerous animals often intertwines with beliefs about witchcraft, reflecting deep historical connections between the natural world and spiritual practices. In Christianity, for example, the serpent, especially as depicted in the book of Genesis, symbolizes not only temptation but also the potential for evil, leading to associations between serpents and witchcraft. as they are seen as manifestations of sin and darkness. This perspective has influenced how dangerous animals, particularly snakes, are viewed in relation to witches, with some believing that witches could transform into these creatures, embodying their deceptive and hazardous nature. In contrast, in many indigenous belief systems, dangerous animals are often seen as powerful spirits or guides, embodying both their fierce attributes and the wisdom they carry. For instance, in some Native American cultures, animals like bears or mountain lions are revered, and their strength is respected rather than feared. These animals can represent a balance of power, life, and death, and may be called upon in rituals for protection against ill intentions, including those associated with witchcraft. The connection between these animals and witchcraft may arise from their ability to navigate the realms of both this world and the spiritual world, serving as protectors against malevolent forces. In African traditional religions, animals often play a significant role in spiritual beliefs, where dangerous animals may symbolize challenges or tests that individuals must face. Here, the interpretation of dangerous animals can vary widely, with some viewing them as guardians of sacred knowledge, while others may associate them with witchcraft as omens or warnings. For example, in certain cultures, the presence of a lion might indicate the need for caution, as it represents the power of the spirit world, and witches are believed to have the ability to summon or communicate with such animals, thus creating a link to their powers. Hinduism, too, has unique interpretations of dangerous animals in relation to witchcraft. The goddess Kali, often depicted with a fierce demeanor, and sometimes accompanied by animals such as tigers or snakes, symbolizes destruction and transformation. In this context, dangerous animals are not inherently evil, but are part of the cycle of life and death, representing the idea that destruction can lead to new beginnings. Witches or practitioners of magic may invoke the protective qualities of these animals within their rituals, embodying their strength and ferocity. In contrast, Buddhism often emphasizes compassion and the interconnectedness of all living beings, leading to a more nuanced view of dangerous animals. While animals such as tigers or venom, dangerous animals in witchcraft legends often serve as powerful symbols, reflecting deep-seated human fears about nature and the mysteries it holds. Throughout history, various cultures have woven tales that feature these menacing creatures, whether they be fearsome wolves, cunning foxes, or even mythical beasts like dragons. These legends often arise from the primal instinct to understand and explain the dangers that lurk in the natural world, where the unknown can be both captivating and terrifying. For instance, in many traditions, the wolf represents not just a physical threat, but also embodies the fear of the wild, untamed aspects of nature, evoking feelings of vulnerability in the face of powerful forces that humans cannot fully control or comprehend. Similarly, snakes are frequently portrayed as sinister figures in witchcraft lore, symbolizing deceit and danger. Yet they also highlight humanity's complicated relationship with nature, where beauty and peril coexist. The snake's ability to slither silently through the underbrush serves as a reminder of the hidden perils that nature can conceal, which can lead to feelings of anxiety and unease. This duality of nature, as a source of both sustenance and threat, resonates deeply with human experience, as people have always had to navigate the delicate balance between harnessing the natural world and respecting its inherent wildness. Moreover, the use of dangerous animals in these stories often reflects societal fears about the unknown, both in nature and within human nature itself. For example, the portrayal of witches often features them in league with animals like black cats or toads, creatures that evoke suspicion and superstition. These animals become metaphors for the fear of the unfamiliar, representing the darker sides of human existence and the potential for malevolence hidden beneath the surface. They serve as reminders of the dangers posed by both nature and humanity, emphasizing the unpredictable elements that can emerge when boundaries are crossed or when the natural order is disrupted. In this sense, these legends act as cautionary tales, warning of the consequences of straying too far from the known or of underestimating the forces of nature. The fear of dangerous animals in witchcraft legends encapsulates the struggle to understand a world that can be both nurturing and destructive. It reflects a collective anxiety about the unpredictable aspects of life, where the shadows of the forest or the depths of the ocean can harbor both wonders and terrors. These stories remind us that while we may seek to tame the wilderness, there will always be elements of nature. Throughout history, various animals have often been associated with witchcraft, leading to widespread myths and fears surrounding them. These associations, while deeply rooted in cultural beliefs, can be debunked with scientific explanations that reveal the true nature of these creatures, rather than the superstitions that have surrounded them. Take, for example, the common black cat, often thought to bring bad luck, especially if it crosses one's path. Scientifically, black cats are simply a variation in fur color caused by genetic factors. They do not possess any supernatural powers, nor do they bring misfortune. Studies have shown that black cats actually tend to have the same temperament and personality as cats of other colors, and in some cultures, they are even considered good luck. Similarly, owls are frequently depicted as the familiars of witches, symbolizing wisdom and mystery. However, these birds are simply nocturnal predators, equipped with exceptional night vision and silent flight, attributes that make them effective hunters. Their eerie calls and silent wings often contribute to the myths surrounding them, but in reality they play a crucial role in controlling rodent populations and maintaining ecological balance. Scientific research highlights their importance in ecosystems, demonstrating that they are not omens of witchcraft, but rather vital components of nature. Another creature often linked to witchcraft is the bat, which has been unfairly maligned due to its association with darkness and the supernatural. In reality, bats are essential for pollination and insect control, consuming vast quantities of insects each night. Many bat species are even crucial for the pollination of fruits like bananas and avocados. Their echolocation abilities, allowing them to navigate in complete darkness, are fascinating biological adaptations that have nothing to do with witchcraft. These creatures are vital for maintaining healthy ecosystems, and their presence is a testament to the diversity of life on our planet. Additionally, snakes have also been tied to witchcraft, often viewed as symbols of evil or danger. Yet, scientifically, snakes are an integral part of many ecosystems, serving as both predator and prey. They help control rodent populations, which can otherwise lead to agricultural damage and the spread of disease. Most snake species are non-venomous and pose little threat to humans. The fear surrounding snakes is often based on misunderstanding and misinformation, rather than any factual basis. In fact, many snakes are beneficial, and their role in the environment is vital for maintaining balance. Moreover, the idea that certain animals, like toads and frogs, throughout history, certain animals have been labeled as dangerous, often intertwined with superstitions and fears that reflect deeper societal issues and human emotions. For example, creatures like owls, bats, and snakes have been viewed with suspicion, their traits often mirroring the anxieties of the communities that perceive them as threats. Owls, with their silent flight and haunting calls, can symbolize death and the unknown, tapping into our fear of what lies beyond life. In many cultures, they are seen as omens, their appearance stirring dread and prompting caution, which may stem from humanity's innate fear of mortality and the mysteries of the night. Bats, often associated with darkness and the supernatural, evoke feelings of unease due to their nocturnal habits and the myths surrounding them. Their ability to navigate through echolocation, while fascinating, can also represent what we do not understand, amplifying our fears of the unseen and the unknown. This mirrors societal issues such as xenophobia, or the fear of the unfamiliar, where anything outside the norm can be perceived as dangerous. Snakes, with their slithering movements and venomous bites, symbolize betrayal and danger, reflecting a deep-seated fear of the treachery that can lurk beneath a calm surface. This fear is not just personal, but societal, as snakes are often used as metaphors for deceit and malice in literature and folklore, mirroring our anxieties about trust and safety in our communities. The way these animals are portrayed in folklore and witchcraft reveals how societal fears manifest through the animal kingdom, showing that what we consider dangerous often stems from our own insecurities and the darker aspects of human nature. Witches, in particular, have historically been depicted as having an affinity for these animals, which reinforces the stigma surrounding them. This association reflects societal anxieties about empowerment and femininity, as many of the traits attributed to dangerous animal stealth, independence, and cunning are qualities that challenge traditional norms. As society grapples with issues of gender and power dynamics, these animals become symbols of the fears associated with those who defy conventional roles. In various cultures, the traits of these animals have been exaggerated, creating a narrative that feeds into the collective fear of the unknown and the societal issues that arise from it. The dangerous characteristics attributed to these animals often serve as a reflection of our own vulnerabilities, highlighting how fear can distort our perception of the natural world. Thus, the portrayal of these creatures in folklore is not crows and ravens, often cloaked in mystery and linked to the supernatural, have played a significant role in shaping the perception of danger associated with witchcraft throughout history. These birds, with their glossy black feathers and intelligent eyes, have long been symbols of death and omens in various cultures. In many folklore traditions, they are seen as creatures that bridge the gap between the living and the dead, which can evoke a sense of fear or foreboding. Their distinct caws and the way they often gather in large groups can create an atmosphere that heightens feelings of unease, especially in settings where witchcraft is a theme, like dark forests or abandoned places. In medieval Europe, crows and ravens were often associated with witches, believed to be their familiars or even transformed witches themselves, acting as their eyes and ears in the world. This connection has roots in the belief that witches could shapeshift into animal forms, with crows and ravens being the most common choices due to their dark plumage and cunning behavior. This association fueled the fear of witchcraft, as communities believed that these birds were harbingers of ill fortune or even death, signaling that a witch was nearby or that malevolent magic was at play. The intelligence of crows and ravens also plays a crucial role in their connection to witchcraft. Known for their problem-solving skills and ability to use tools, these birds are often seen as cunning and crafty, traits that align them with the cunning nature of witches in folklore. Their ability to recognize human faces and remember those who have wronged them adds to the perception of them as vengeful spirits or agents of dark magic. This perception was further amplified by tales of witches using these birds to spy on their enemies, making the presence of a crow or raven a warning sign of impending danger or treachery. In addition to folklore, the cultural significance of crows and ravens has been explored in literature and art, reinforcing their association with witchcraft and danger. From Edgar Allan Poe's famous poem, The Raven, which delves into themes of loss and despair, to the depictions of witches flying on broomsticks accompanied by these dark birds, the imagery has persisted through time. This portrayal taps into our primal fears, evoking the idea that where there are crows and ravens, there could be dark magics at work, ready to ensnare the unsuspecting. Moreover, the behavior of these birds, particularly their scav, witch trials, which swept across Europe and parts of colonial America, often reveal a fascinating yet troubling connection between societal fears of certain animals and the persecution of those accused of witchcraft. During these dark times, people believed that witches could communicate with animals, particularly those that society viewed as sinister or untrustworthy, such as cats, especially black cats, and other creatures like toads, bats, and owls. These animals were seen as companions to witches, or even as witches in disguise, leading to a widespread fear that they were engaging in malevolent activities. This fear often stemmed from deep-rooted superstitions, where animals were thought to be agents of the devil or manifestations of evil, which increased the paranoia surrounding alleged witchcraft. In many communities, the presence of an unusual animal, or an animal behaving strangely, would often be enough to spark rumors of witchcraft. For instance, if a black cat was seen lurking around a house where someone was suffering from misfortune, people might jump to conclusions, blaming the cat, and by extension the person associated with it, for the community's troubles. This tendency to connect animals with witchcraft not only fueled the hysteria surrounding the trials, but also reflected deeper societal fears and anxieties. It was as if the animals became scapegoats for human fears, projecting societal issues such as famine, disease, or unexplained deaths onto these innocent creatures. Moreover, the witch trials occurred during times of social upheaval, where communities experienced significant changes, such as shifts in power, economic struggles, or even natural disasters. As people faced these uncertainties, they sought to find explanations for their hardships, leading them to blame individuals, especially women, who were often marginalized or different in some way. Allegations of witchcraft could often serve as a means for communities to assert control over these fears, channeling their anxieties into the persecution of those they deemed as outsiders. The animals associated with these accused witches became symbols of the perceived threat, amplifying the fear and leading to even more tragic outcomes. The connection between societal fears, animals, and witch trials highlights how deeply intertwined nature and culture can be, showing how the natural world can reflect our deepest anxieties. This interplay between fear and perception not only drove the witch hunts, but also left a lasting impact on how some animals are viewed in culture today. For example, even now, black cats can carry a stigma in some cultures with lingering beliefs from those historical. Throughout history, various animals have been unfairly blamed and demonized in the realm of witchcraft, often becoming scapegoats for societal fears, misfortunes, and unexplained events. One of the most notable examples is the cat, particularly the black cat, which has long been associated with witchcraft, sorcery, and evil omens. In the Middle Ages, during times of great superstition and paranoia about witches, black cats were often thought to be witches' familiars, serving as their spies or helpers. People believed that if a black cat crossed your path, it was a bad omen, leading to a widespread persecution of these animals, resulting in the killing of countless innocent cats. Another animal frequently accused in witchcraft trials was the owl, often seen as a harbinger of doom or a creature of darkness. Its eerie calls, haunting appearance, and nocturnal habits contributed to its association with witchcraft, leading to fears that owls were connected to witches or were in fact witches in disguise. This belief caused many owls to be killed, as communities sought to rid themselves of what they believed were threats lurking in the night. Dogs, too, faced their share of scapegoating, especially during the European witch hunts. Certain breeds, particularly small black dogs, were thought to be witches' companions, and if one was seen behaving oddly, it could easily lead to accusations of witchcraft. The idea was that these dogs were used by witches to carry out their nefarious deeds, leading to many innocent dogs being killed or driven away in fear. In some cultures, reptiles, particularly snakes, were also seen as symbols of evil and were linked to witchcraft. Their slithering movements and secretive nature made them easy targets for fear and suspicion. In certain cases, people believed that witches could transform into snakes, or that they could summon snakes to do their bidding, leading to a heightened fear of these creatures. This fear often resulted in violence against snakes, reflecting the deep-seated anxieties of the time. Even more unusual, certain birds like the crow and the raven were often tied to witchcraft beliefs. Their dark feathers and scavenging habits fed into superstitions, with many believing that these birds carried messages from the spirit world or were in league with witches. In some regions, the sight of a crow or raven was thought to be a sign of impending misfortune, which led to their persecution as well. These examples illustrate how animal rights perspectives challenge traditional views on the danger associated with witch-related animals by advocating for a deeper understanding of the relationship between humans and these creatures, often seen as sinister or malevolent throughout history. Traditionally, animals like cats, owls, and snakes have been linked to witchcraft, portraying them as ominous companions to witches, which has led to widespread fear and misunderstanding. However, from an animal rights standpoint, these animals are viewed as sentient beings deserving of respect and protection, rather than symbols of evil or danger. This shift in perspective encourages people to reevaluate their beliefs about these animals, moving away from fear-based narratives to compassionate understandings of their roles in ecosystems and their inherent rights to live without persecution. For instance, black cats, often associated with bad luck and witchcraft, have suffered high rates of abandonment and cruelty due to these superstitions. Animal rights advocates emphasize the need for education, showing how these animals contribute to biodiversity and pest control, thus highlighting their importance rather than their supposed threat. Furthermore, the animal rights movement encourages individuals to consider the historical context of witch hunts, where many innocent individuals, including animals, were wrongly accused, reinforcing the idea that fear of these creatures often stems from ignorance rather than fact. Emphasizing empathy, animal rights perspectives call for a reevaluation of how society perceives these animals, urging people to see beyond the traditional narratives that paint them as dangerous. The challenge lies in transforming societal attitudes, helping people recognize that these animals, once feared, can be understood and appreciated for their unique traits and ecological roles. By fostering a culture of respect and understanding, animal rights advocates aim to dispel myths that have long harmed both the creatures themselves and the communities that misunderstand them. This approach not only protects the animals, but also enriches human lives through a more profound connection to nature, promoting coexistence rather than conflict. In essence, the animal rights perspective fosters a narrative that counters the historical demonization of witch-related animals, urging society to embrace a more compassionate and informed viewpoint, one that recognizes the beauty and value of all living beings. Throughout history, the presence of dangerous animals in witchcraft has played a significant role in shaping modern environmental attitudes and conservation efforts, as these creatures often symbolize both fear and respect for nature. In many cultures, animals like snakes, wolves, and even owls have been associated with witchcraft, embodying the mystery and power of the natural world. And this connection has greatly influenced how people perceive these animals today. For example, the snake, often regarded as a harbinger of danger, has led to a complex relationship with reptiles in various ecosystems. In some folklore, snakes are seen as protectors of the earth, and this duality has sparked a growing interest in their conservation, as they play essential roles in controlling pest populations and maintaining ecological balance. Moreover, the portrayal of dangerous animals in stories and myths has fostered a deep curiosity about their behaviors and habitats, leading to increased efforts in wildlife research and preservation. The fear associated with these animals often transforms into a desire to understand and protect them, as people begin to recognize the vital roles they play in their ecosystems. For instance, the wolf, often depicted as a fearsome creature in tales of witchcraft, has seen a resurgence in conservation initiatives, particularly in North America, where reintroducing wolves to ecosystems has proven beneficial for biodiversity, demonstrating how fear can lead to respect and conservation. Additionally, the concept of witchcraft and its ties to nature has encouraged a broader understanding of the interconnectedness of all living things. Many modern environmental movements draw inspiration from ancient beliefs that emphasize respect for the natural world, recognizing that even the most dangerous animals have a place in our ecosystems. This shift in perspective has led to greater advocacy for the protection of species that are often misunderstood, such as bats, which are sometimes linked to witchcraft due to their nocturnal habits and eerie appearances. Bats, despite their fearsome reputation, are crucial for pollination and pest control, and their conservation efforts reflect a growing acknowledgement of their ecological importance. Furthermore, the dangers associated with certain animals in witchcraft narratives have prompted discussions about human impacts on wildlife, raising awareness about habitat destruction and climate change. As these stories highlight the consequences of ignoring the natural world, they serve as cautionary tales that encourage communities to engage in sustainable practices and prioritize conservation efforts. By confronting the fears surrounding dangerous animals, societies begin to appreciate their roles in maintaining ecosystem health, leading to more comprehensive conservation strategies that aim to protect not just individual species, but entire habitats. In contemporary settings, myths surrounding dangerous animals in witchcraft vary widely across continents, shaped by cultural beliefs, historical contexts, and local environments. In Europe, for instance, during the Middle Ages, certain animals, like the black cat, were often associated with witches and malevolent forces. The black cat, with its mysterious, sleek appearance, became a symbol of witchcraft, thought to be a familiar spirit or an incarnation of a witch's power. This fear led to many cats being persecuted, as they were believed to be harbingers of bad luck or evil omens. The European mythos also included creatures like wolves, which were often seen as agents of chaos embodying the untamed aspects of nature, and were linked to the supernatural through tales of werewolves, further blurring the lines between reality and myth. In contrast, African myths surrounding dangerous animals often reflect a more complex relationship with the natural world. For many African cultures, animals are not merely symbols of danger, but are seen as powerful beings with their own spirits and roles within the ecosystem. For example, the lion is revered in many African cultures, symbolizing strength and bravery, yet it also holds a duality as a dangerous predator that can bring harm. Myths may tell of lions as protectors of the forest, or as figures of wisdom, imparting lessons about respect for nature and the balance of life. Additionally, certain snakes, like the mamba or the python, are often woven into stories that emphasize caution and respect for their power, rather than outright fear. These myths serve as a way to teach communities about the importance of coexistence with nature, highlighting the dangers of these animals while also acknowledging their vital roles in the ecosystem. Moreover, in some African traditions, dangerous animals are also associated with ancestral spirits, providing a deeper spiritual connection that contrasts with the often fearful narratives found in European witchcraft. In many instances, these animals are seen as messengers or protectors, bridging the earthly and spiritual realms, while European myths often focus more on the threat they pose. This difference illustrates how the cultural significance of animals shapes the narratives surrounding them, as well as the attitudes toward nature itself. The way dangerous animals are perceived and integrated into witchcraft myths is also influenced by the surrounding environment. In tropical regions of Africa, animals like crocodiles and hippos are often featured in myths, reflecting local experiences with these creatures, which can be both awe-inspiring and dangerous, while in Europe, where such animals are in modern-day practices of Wicca and various witchcraft traditions, the role of dangerous animals can be quite significant, intertwining with symbolism, ritualistic practices, and the broader understanding of nature's balance. Many witches see the natural world as a reflection of spiritual truths in animals, especially those considered dangerous, often embody strong energies, representing both the power and unpredictability found in nature. For instance, creatures like snakes, spiders, and even larger predators such as wolves are frequently invoked in rituals or used as totems, symbolizing transformation, protection, and the primal forces of the earth. These animals are not merely seen as threats. Instead, they are respected, revered, and understood through a lens that acknowledges their roles in the ecosystem. In Wicca, the idea of duality is important, where life and death, creation and destruction are interconnected. Dangerous animals exemplify this duality, serving as reminders of the wildness of nature and the need for respect when engaging with it. Practitioners often use animal symbolism to invoke qualities they wish to embody or to seek protection, drawing on the fierce and protective nature of these creatures. Moreover, in many traditions, the presence of dangerous animals can symbolize a challenge or a rite of passage, marking a moment of personal growth or transformation. For example, encountering the spirit of a wolf may represent the need to embrace one's instincts or to navigate the complexities of social structures. Rituals may include animal imagery, or practitioners might choose to work with animal spirit guides that reflect their personal journeys or the lessons they seek to learn. This approach fosters a deep connection to nature, reminding practitioners that every creature, no matter how fearsome, has a role in the web of life. Additionally, some witches may use the characteristics of dangerous animals in their spell work or magical practices, calling upon the qualities of strength, cunning, or resilience that these creatures embody. For instance, the venom of a snake might be symbolically used in a potion to signify the power of healing and transformation, while the ferocity of a lion could be invoked to instill courage in the face of adversity. This relationship with dangerous animals encourages practitioners to confront their fears and embrace the wild aspects of their own nature, ultimately leading to greater self-awareness and empowerment. In many cultures, dangerous animals have also been associated with deities or spirits, further enriching